Okay, so everyone's checked their roles?
Yep, I'm good.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, Scoob. Moreland is the werewolf. Okay, I checked him. I'm a seer. I can see that he's the werewolf. We have to vote him out this
Now,
night.
keep in mind, either the villagers or werewolves are going to win today with this vote.
You know who would say that they're the seer?
Who's that?
The werewolf.
You know, the man makes a good point.
Are you Are you a seer?
No.
Okay. Moreland is clearly not the seer because he has not guessed anybody right. I got 2 people out earlier. I'm clearly the seer.
She's a werewolf. That's the only reason
Okay,
she knows
guys,
who
I
they
got to
are.
call a vote. It's time to vote.
Scoob, we have to vote together. We have to vote Moreland out.
I vote for Becky.
I'm going to vote for Becky.
You gotta vote for Becky?
Scoob! Why
Alright.
would you vote for me? I'm the seer!
Okay, flip your card. You're
I'm
dead.
the seer, you motherfucker!
It's a villager. Moreland.
I'm a werewolf.
Oh, dear.
What are you, Scoob?
I'm a... Oh, my.
Scoob. That's a villager card.
Well,
You should have voted with Becky.
that's unfortunate.
Thanks, Scoob.
I have to tell you, though, there was an advertisement for a movie with Melissa McCarthy, and she's playing with Muppets. Funniest shit I've seen in a long time, other than Deadpool. There's a scene where the Muppet's jizzing, and right when you think he's finished, he's like, ah!
It's an R-rated Muppets film.
Okay.
I thought maybe
Hilarious.
she'd found a weird Rule 34 fucking Jim Henson
No.
parody and Melissa McCarthy's fucking star had just fallen to hell.
That's pretty much it.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
Talking about roles we don't want to talk about. Secret roles.
Yeah.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Becky.
Welcome to the Free Rotation Podcast. What you heard just earlier is a dramatic, not reenactment of exactly what happened during a game of Werewolf with Scoob.
I have brain trauma.
Every game with Scoob.
That's every werewolf game with Scoob.
Oh,
No,
every
Secret
werewolf.
Hitler I did pretty good.
And if you haven't guessed, our episode today is all about the hidden role games. The
And-
games.
Oh, I thought it was about lycanthropy. So I had this Wolf's Banes, these silver bullets, and nobody opened the door.
Didn't you bring a deck building crew last episode?
That's the bit. I bring literal
I can't wait
interpretations
until we
of
do
things.
horror games and see how you go with that.
He's gonna bring a whore.
I'm gonna.
So he's gonna bring himself.
Oh, good call.
Scoob, thinking real hard about that one. But right,
We'll take this to the fans. If you want me to traumatize the rest of the co-hosts by showing up dressed as Dr. Frankenfurter,
Oh, I'm going to go vote 100 times yes.
Right? I am too.
please comment, like, and subscribe to all
why
our
do-
various apps and
why
things.
do you
Affiliate
think-
us on Twitch, because I'll make their eyes twitch.
Why do you think that's gonna scare us? Becky's over here rubbing her nipples at it.
Scoob was going to be the titty streamer we didn't know we had.
Right?
Twitch terms of services have changed, guys.
Just a little.
I'm not going to do it on camera.
Anyway.
I'm not a prostitute.
I'm
He's on a cam girl.
joined with my
Right.
By the way,
regular-
shout out to cam girls. All of them follow us, maybe?
Yes.
I mean,
No.
I'm not.
Yes.
I'm not.
If we can prove you're of
Opposed?
age.
I'm not opposed to it.
joined by my co-hosts, Scoob and Moreland,
Hi.
our
I'm Moreland.
executive producer Angie.
Wait. How come we don't get a
Sometimes I
fucking...
plug the thing in.
How come we don't get a fucking title?
What's your title, Scoob? What do you want?
Bringer of fuckery?
Bringer of fuckery, Scoob and Moreland.
I can't put that on a business card. And
Yes,
be,
the fuck you can!
Yeah, for the short bus, Scoob.
Provider of shenanigans.
There we go.
Shenanigan producer.
Yeah.
I need to give you a legit title.
Shenanigan producer seems like a pretty legit title.
We'll talk about it at the next meeting when we talk about raises and stuff like that. 0 still multiplies to 0, but I just want to put that out there.
I was about to say, we get paid.
You know, we pay our intern more than we get paid.
We have an
He
intern.
makes a penny. Yes.
Yeah, he does technically.
Oh.
Henry, yeah.
Henry's our intern. He gets
Henry's
a
pretty
penny a
awesome,
year.
To be fair, Angie did get us McDonald's.
Yeah,
You're paid in food
That's right.
This is true.
and plausible deniability.
And you can pet my cat.
I know what that term means, and thank you.
Anyways,
As soon as I found out what plausible deniability was, I was the first one to go, I think this is a bad idea at everything we ever did. Just for that.
so this episode's all about hidden roles. So when we talk about the games that are about hidden roles, we're talking about games that generally are those in which you are given a role secretly.
Werewolf.
Werewolf is a good example.
Murder
Mafia is
mystery
another
dinners.
one. Murder mystery dinners are also a good example.
You were
KGB
actually
agent.
really good in that. The murder mystery dinner.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
So-
Till fucking.
Oh, and Becky,
Anyways.
who caused a sad episode? Since we want to talk about my lack of plugging in, who forgot the cords?
I
Yeah.
still recorded some audio. Just because it sucked doesn't mean it was something.
Thank
Wait.
you.
Technically,
Moreland was the last one to touch it when we left the house, so Moreland forgot the
technically
cords.
that was mine and Becky's fault.
But you didn't bitch at me for not plugging in the USB cord.
This is true.
I didn't just bitch at you. I gave you that look of like, I'm going to die inside now. Thank you.
That's not bitching.
That's
That's
just,
internal seppuku.
yeah, that's exactly what that was.
Well, you know.
I'm sorry, was that Chinese?
No, it's
Well,
Cartman.
well, Angie, you know the ever classic phrase: the difference between bitching and just saying is Becky's interpretation. Ooh.
He's not wrong.
I'm tired. I feel smart today.
Ooh.
That's the only time. We're about to talk about games you're real bad at.
You yourself said you want me to do more episodes
So
tired
all
because
of
I'm
them?
better.
Say what?
I said so. All of
That's
them.
kind of true.
Moreland, the amount of suck my dick that
So today, we're really ADHD.
I'm gonna punch you right in the weenus.
We're talking about Scoob's true weakness, any game that involves him actually having a role that he can read off of a card.
Right.
So
Most of my rolls come off of fucking that
I
little
will
parchment
say,
paper at a
Scoob
restaurant.
didn't do
What do you
a
want from
bad
me?
job at like Secret Hitler, but any game that just involves one card that says one thing that tells you to do one thing, Scoob's real bad at. So basically, that's
Maybe I don't like mixing lycanthropy and card games. What's your fucking?
Mafia too, Scoob. Let's be honest. And
I like Italian food and it's racist.
so I guess a good base game to start with is Mafia.
The only reason I was good at Secret Hitler is I'm not a Holocaust denier. That's the only reason.
Jesus fucking Christ. Can we just not record? I'm just
Going home, guys. I've been like.
I'm
out.
50-50, and if that joke needs to be left in, I'll let that be editor's choice.
So at this point,
But I really liked it.
I mean, most people know the base games of Mafia and Werewolf, which is that you have a bad guy and or multiple bad guys where you're trying to deceive the other people into voting out the actual good guys so you win versus the good guys who are trying to find the bad guys. So we have played extensive amounts of games of Werewolf
Yes.
in our group, and we played a little bit of Mafia at the cabin. I know we didn't get to play a lot of this version, but I really, really, really want to try out a big version where you don't reveal your role. So that's another thing, is there, since everybody has a role, when people die, you find out what their role is so you can kind of deduce who remains in the game.
Right. Like, oh, there's fewer werewolves. We hung a werewolf. Now there's fewer werewolves. Oh, the werewolves killed a villager.
Right.
Now there's fewer villagers.
But I have seen a variation of that, excuse me, where the roles are not revealed at the end of a death. So
Right.
you're never truly sure who's alive. Because if you think about it, if you can pretend to fudge and be the doctor, because you don't know if the doctor has died, you can be like, I'm the doctor, I've been healing people this entire time, I can't help that they died. That's a good way to continue a layer of deception. So
You know
until the game master goes, oh, doctor's not alive anymore. Can't call that one out. Let's just keep going.
well, then that's why you do still call it out, though. You still say, doctor, pick somebody to heal. And then nobody raises their head and you just
And
kind of
you
sit
just
there.
pick your werewolf friend
Yeah.
and be like, you were attacked last night and I healed you. Oh, he's right.
Here's a thought
Right.
I just had. Do they have a card in the game or Doppelganger where you just assume somebody's role?
Yes.
Yes.
It's actually
Yes.
called doppelganger.
There's literally a
Oh.
card called Doppelganger. When somebody dies, you take on their role.
Yep. In
Take on
in Town of
me.
Salem, they're called an
Take
amnesia.
on me.
And that's another game that is similar to Mafia as well as Town of Salem, which we've all played a lot of Town of Salem.
We've streamed it a little bit.
We streamed it a little bit.
It's the most cutesy version of Werewolf I ever have seen in my life.
Oh, no, that game is so full of trolls.
Right? Jeez.
It's the internet. What's not full of trolls? This room is full of trolls.
My favorite thing is first night
The mayor reveals himself.
first night you accidentally you killed the Godfather or you killed somebody in the Mafia.
Because he creeps in.
And then the Mafia like the town hangs him, and then the Mafia comes in. Oh, or he's getting hanged. Oh, well, I'm here are my other Mafia members. Kill them too.
Oh, yeah.
I hate when people do
Oh,
that.
if that's me, though, I troll, and I'll name two people. It's not Mafia.
Yep.
That's how you troll that.
Right. And it's a good online way of playing Mafia if you like to play Mafia. But the problem is with that version is anybody can it's a troll game at that point. You're not just playing with people who are actively, unless you're playing with Scoob. You're not actively playing in the game to play. I mean, you do have ranked games in that one though, right?
Yes,
so you
do.
can play ranked. But I think those are the most base games. But I've really come to enjoy the games like The Resistance or Avalon, which take in a little bit Secret Hitler's another example where Secret Hitler. Anyway, where you added second element of the game to it. So a lot of times with those games, you do have a separate role where you're either bad guy or good guy, but you also have either missions or something you're trying to do to help your team win or lose.
I would like to put out one thing, as we've been poo-pooing on me since this whole thing started. Can we talk about the one time where someone played their role really, really well and someone got mad at them?
I was thinking about that, and I totally blew the game.
We were playing
I still believe that he forgot what side he was on. I don't, because his logic was so flawed. There was no way to win if one of us were voted out. So if a member of the Resistance was voted out, we wouldn't have won.
Okay.
So we had to have a Resistance member in that, and he completely blocked all Resistant members from that last mission. There was no mission after that. So
but basically, that's what I wanted to...
he played it well, but in the end, we still would have lost.
Well, the Resistance in Avalon, if you're talking about it, is you have missions
I think
where...
this one was Resistance.
It's probably Resistance.
And it was a mission, and we had to have... It was tied, and we had to have a member of the Resistance go on that mission.
Right, and so with games like that, you have to vote on people who are going on the mission because if you're a bad guy, you can sabotage the mission.
Yep.
If you're a good guy, you want the mission to succeed. So that's part of the deducement of the game is to figure out who are the bad guys so you can ensure that they're not going on these missions that could fail or succeed depending on your role. So... there can be a lot of antagonism in those games just because of somebody's flawed logic.
So much.
So what happened in this particular game is the very first night, I was a member of the Resistance. Only 2 people go on a mission, and it was Josiah and myself, and I failed it. Because then they're also going to suspect Josiah, and they're never going to pick him again, and Josiah's a really smart person. So I felt like taking Josiah out as somebody who could potentially be on the Resistance, he's not going to be trusted. I'm not going to be trusted. We're both taken out, but their best asset was gone. And it gets down to the last mission, and somebody else was building a team. And they were going to put me on it. And then he completely talked me off of it and put Josiah on it. It wasn't him. Josiah wasn't a Resistance member. Mm-hmm. So I think he actually believed Josiah was Resistance. It was me.
And that's the crazy part of those games, though, is that...
because I had convinced almost everybody that Josiah was the Resistance guy.
Or you mean the bad guy?
Yeah, the bad guy.
Because the Resistance is the good guy. I think it's the government, right? You're actually the government that's the bad guy in this game.
Right.
Yeah.
In Resistance?
Yeah.
With a game called Resistance, I would see that would be probably...
but the Resistance is the one trying to fail the missions.
No, the Resistance is the one trying to succeed the missions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
well,
Resistance
to be
and,
fair,
Spies.
to be fair, both answers are correct. The Resistance wants to resist, and the government wants to succeed. So they're both trying to do the same thing. They're both to succeed at failing. It depends on which perspective you're looking at it from. Mm-hmm. If you're looking at it from the government...
well, gameplay itself is that you're a Resistance member trying to go on these missions to overthrow the government, and there's government agents coming in to join your Resistance to make sure they fail or you get caught. So that's the basis of Resistance, which is also similar to Avalon, which is the Camelot version of the Resistance.
Yes.
So you're playing either as Merlin or you can play as Merlin, you can play as King Arthur, you can play as the Knights of the Round Table versus like Morgan. Is it Morgan or Morgana?
Morgan Le Fay.
Yeah. Or Mordred or any of those characters trying to save or fail Avalon, which brings up Shadows over Camelot, which is a board game version, but it has a traitor. There's a betrayer in Shadows over Camelot.
There's a possible betrayer.
Right. So that's
it. You don't know if there is.
Yes,
so
exactly.
you question everybody while trying to work together.
Right.
Exactly, because you'll go, well,
why did he choose to get rid of a catapult instead of, go over here and fight this monster?
Right. Well, I would have done that differently. That and the other, and it's a lot of weird logic.
Yeah, Shadows over Camelot plays as a normal board game, that adds the element of possibly having a betrayer, because you're playing as a co-op trying to build up Camelot in order to save Camelot for King Arthur, or make it fall for the evil overthrowers or whatever.
Mordred. Yeah.
Mordred, yeah. So somebody could there might not be a betrayer. That's another reason why I like games like this too. Is
Right.
like you don't necessarily have to have a betrayer. With Werewolf and Mafia, you know there's a bad guy.
Yeah.
But in these games, it's just randomly picked, and you could all be on the same team. You could all not be on the same team, and depending on your decisions, if you think somebody's a bad guy, you could fuck up an entire game just because somebody might be playing badly.
Right, exactly. Be like, well, you know, I would have done this differently. Does that mean he's the bad guy? Or does he just see... Does he see something that I don't see? Or does she see something
and
I don't
Dead of
see?
Winter has that same concept.
Right, Dead of
there
Winter-
could be a traitor.
Right.
It's a survival game, basically. Dead of Winter was one of mine that I really enjoyed. We've only played it one time.
No, we played it, but we played it twice. Because
Yeah.
one time Dan was a traitor, and one time... No, that one game Dan and I were both traitors.
Right.
But we had our own things we had to do.
Yep.
And mine was just ruin the food supply and take all the medicine.
Or if you're me, you have no idea what the fuck you're doing, and you're just like, element of chaos.
Well, I mean, you did
Right.
play Secret Hitler pretty well.
You did.
Yeah,
you
because
did- you
it
did do
seems
Secret
kind of
Hitler
hard
good.
to. It seems.
And Scoob was really good at murder mystery when we played it at the cabin. He knew the entire thing except the why of it.
Yep.
But he knew the who and the how.
Can we
you can-
talk about that? Because once again, Drew fucked it up.
Wait, so let's go in. This is like our lost episode from the cabin, because
That we referenced in 3 episodes,
3 or 4
ago?
episodes ago, yeah. So normally we do a cabin episode, but cords were forgotten to actually record the episode, so we didn't have any way to actually record the episode. So we ended up having a murder mystery type setting where somebody gets axed, and we have sheriffs and we have suspects. So Angie, you're the one that ran it, so you want to explain it?
So what I did was I gave everyone basically what their name was, a bit about their personality. So you could role play it however you wanted, but it was like key character flaws and the opposite of flaw, which I can't think of the word.
Strength?
Strength. And basically what role you were. Were you a sheriff? Were you one of the other cops? Were you the murderer? And then I had a role that when they figured out who the murderer was, they had to help them not get caught. So it was a random pick for all of these. Just so happened that it was Rachel and Chris who were married. He was the killer. She was the assister. And so that's how it played out. And then you have, I went around as a storyteller, following the story, and, you know, stepped in with narration when it was due.
So here's how Drew fucked it up. So
I also want to add, this might also be another example of how Scoob gets himself fucked over in games.
Okay, well, here's what happened. So Drew comes around the corner, and
well,
he
Jake, Drew, and myself are the sheriffs.
are the sheriffs.
Jake is basically Andy Griffith, but an alcoholic and a moron. I
Drew
am,
is a yes man.
yeah, and I am the
Scoob's on the
hot
fast
upstart
path to
rookie
success.
trying to be like, this guy's a moron. And I have this shit stone cold locked in. I figured it out.
He figured it out, but then he got Scoobish with it. But what happened is, right
That's
bef-
exactly
right
what
before
happened.
Scoob walked out, Drew came around the corner and said, I just heard Scoob and Rachel talking. And Scoob was like, we've got bodies piling up. He's like, I think he's a conspirator with Rachel. I think he's a bad guy. Like, the light immediately just goes off in Jake's head because it made a lot of sense.
Because
If I
he's
was
a
bad
sheeple.
cop. So he says he's a bad cop. He's like, I'm starting to really suspect Scoob. And then Scoob walks right out of the house onto the porch where they're talking and says, we should plant some coke.
I did.
By the way, which is not
No,
related
just-
to anything that is happening in this game.
We should no.
And Jake
because
said, why?
Because the background story I was given for Rachel's character from talking to her, she was troubled by the past, and I was going to turn her into a narc because I figured it that she would turn on Chris for some coke. So
Which
fictitious
had
coke.
nothing to
Fictitious.
actually do
But he
with
didn't
hold on,
explain
hold
any
on.
of this.
Yeah.
He didn't explain any of it.
Because I didn't trust Jake because he's a bumbling moron in the game. I was like, okay, I got this.
Yes,
and when I said
and-
we
yes.
had
So-
bodies on our hands, I was playing tough cop
Well,
with Rachel.
As Scoob turned around and went back inside, Jake it was like a eureka moment. He was like, I knew it. Scoob's a bad guy. So then his whole thing became to prove that Scoob was a bad guy. So suddenly, like, all these pieces really did fit together that you were a bad guy. And Rachel was helping
Somehow. I don't know how.
you. So, and of course, Drew's playing into it. And he had every opportunity to disagree. that he didn't. But
didn't also at some point Scoob say something like, why do you suspect this person? Even though the evidence was leading to that.
Yeah, he tried to like take the heat off of Rachel.
But the thing was, like, me and Moreland, meanwhile, are sitting inside the house eating macaroni
Because
and
their
cheese.
characters are dead.
Well, no, our characters are
We weren't
dead.
dead.
Because Kayla was making food and you guys were eating.
Well, no, it was just because
Fat and hungry.
we didn't know what was going on. We couldn't go out and be like, okay, this is what... We would go to them with information we knew. And I said, hey, such and such is blackmailing such and such, to give them clues. But meanwhile, we have no idea all of the shit's happening on the porch, just sitting there, just like, what else?
What was supposed to be
I thought
happening
it was
in-house was people were supposed to talk amongst yourselves, get each other's information, and start accusing each other.
I thought it was Becca the entire time. So
I thought honestly, honest to God, I thought it was Rachel the entire time, and then almost implicated myself because at some point I was like, you know what? Because there was an issue where there was flashlights that were a flashlight that was missing in a room, right, or something to that effect.
Yeah.
And Rachel was trying to hint at there was a flashlight found at the crime scene. See where this flashlight came from, and I figured it out. And I was gonna go out there and be like, guys, you should look and see where this flashlight came from. Turned out it came from my room.
Each person had a story that could have potentially been the reason why they killed this person who died. But so Becky, being his lawyer, was implicated in a lot of roundabout ways. Becca really was implicated. So the prime suspects were Becca. There was also a lot of evidence against Chris.
right.
And there was evidence that wasn't really found against Dan because people didn't talk. And Dan didn't really share his backstory.
Well, Dan was talking. He was Confucius, but confusing everybody.
So we get to the end of the game where this has been going on for at least an hour or more.
We went on for like 2 hours.
Yeah,
It
I
was
did
so
nothing to frame Scoob in this game, by the way.
No, Scoob did everything.
Scoob did everything to frame himself.
Scoob trusted Drew to have a fucking intelligent fucking synapse fire.
And so what
And
happened
Jake to
was
think
that,
for himself.
Well, when we get to the end of the game, Rachel said that she knew Drew had been eavesdropping. So she specifically geared the conversation to make it sound like Scoob was suspicious. Because that was her job, was to throw suspicion off Chris.
Which we need to talk about Rachel and Secret Hitler as well.
So Rachel was really super devious and said exactly what she needed to say to keep people.
Be honest, if I was Jake or Drew, it would make total sense for Scoob to be a bad cop because of the way you were like, maybe because I'm a lawyer and I know to frame the issue in which...
I know what you said to frame. I was like, what?
Frame
Becky,
the
stop.
issues of a case within the facts that you are given. Scoob tends to decide that, okay, the facts that are given are X, Y, Z. I'm going to add 1, 2, and 3 to the facts. And now we're adding cocaine.
We didn't have real cocaine, by the way. This is just fictitious.
No, he just decided
We
to
didn't?
add...
What
Which,
was
No,
that?
which
because-
to be fair, Scoob,
That was a powdered donut.
that's a bad cop
Oh, okay.
motive right there. Let's plant evidence on somebody.
No, I wasn't going to plant evidence on her. I was going to offer her coke to flip.
I remember
No. I was going to offer her the coke, quote unquote,
Yeah.
to flip
Well,
and give up Chris and
Here we
herself at
go.
the same time for...
so
Imaginary coke.
Jake says to Scoob, he's like, can you ask Rachel or Chris to come on? I have questions. Scoob says, why? What do you
Because
wanna
I
ask
hadn't
him?
figured the fuck out, and he
He's
just
like,
wouldn't
why?
listen.
Why? Why do you want to...
Why you Scoob, you make yourself suspicious. That's the
I
problem.
told-
Jake said, because I just want to ask Rachel a question. Scoob's like, I'll handle Rachel. You don't need to worry about Rachel.
I'm sorry.
And
No,
then
you
he
set
goes
yourself
aside.
up for this shit. This episode is going to be titled "How Scoob Fucks Up Secret
No.
Role Game."
No,
he-
Scoob shouldn't play secret role games.
Yeah.
But that
Basically.
was Scoob's character, was that he thought this guy's bumbling. This guy was a yes man.
So there's no
And
point
he
involving
was on
them in
the-
any of the
the
situation.
path to
So I would like to
promotion.
think I played my character very well.
He did.
To the point in which you were implicating
By
yourself
the way,
with
speaking,
Rachel.
I found my D&D shirt, so
Ooh.
But
that's a side note.
it's just funny because it gets to the end and everybody.
No, so we get to the end, and Angie calls for the investigation to be concluded. Out of nowhere, fucking Jake looks at me and goes, "I think Scoob did it."
It was
What?
It was top 10 anime betrayal.
it was.
me
looking
and
at
Becca went
Rachel.
like, huh?
I looked right at Jake. I said, "No, Chris did it."
Okay, everybody was looking at Chris like, you're so busted.
You know what's
I
funny?
suspect Scoob.
Everybody's looking at Chris.
Everybody
like,
knew it
Chris
was-
did it. Chris
No,
did it. We knew that.
Yeah, everybody
Chris
knew it was
even okay, and here's the thing about Chris played his role so well, because if Jake had listened, Chris admitted it.
Yep.
Like everything, he didn't deny the evidence against him.
No.
He didn't. Even when we were sitting there, and when the whole group was sitting there, they said something, and Chris said, "Oh yeah, his fashion sense was terrible." and something.
He
Basically,
had-
it's like admitting to a clue.
Basically, the guy had wrote a bad review about Chris,
Who was a
and-
male model or something.
Right.
Chris,
He was-
Chris
he
and
was
his
a stylist.
fashion
he was a
designer.
fashion designer. Chris and his fashion line, and Chris decided to
Killed
kill
the shit
him
out
for
of
him.
him. So I'm sitting there on the couch. I'm done. I'm fucking tired.
I
I'm
think it's
hungry.
funny because 2 minutes before that, Angie's like, "You need to pay attention." I'm like, "Why?" She's like, "This gonna be good."
Because Angie knew the fucking derailment had
Well, yeah,
already happened.
And I couldn't. The thing as a storyteller, if Jake wanted to review
Right.
the notes, I completely went over everything.
You were
he
basically the
knew.
dungeon master.
Right.
She was a
and-
Watu.
and-
She could not
And
interfere.
even though I thought that him suspecting Scoob was awesome, nothing I ever told him,
Led to
other
that.
than Drew came around the corner and said he heard this. I never said anything else that had Scoob's name in it.
And I kind of thought, you know what, it makes sense for Angie to throw in a bad cop. And I was like, but everybody, all of us knew sitting in that room, and we even said it in the room, if you had comboed any other person other than the 3 that were involved, we would have figured the shit out 45 minutes into
Right.
the game. 3
Right?
hours later.
Had you made had Becky been a cop, it
the game would have been 15
Becky would
minutes.
have suspected Scoob anyway.
It-
No.
Fair.
I would have thrown Scoob in
Well,
as
to
his
be
fodder.
fair, when
Collateral.
when Drew threw that out there, it made so much sense with the way Scoob was acting,
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
he had said. The fact that he wanted to keep Jake away from the investigation and
This is
stuff.
why I
and-
don't. I'm not a
and
fucking
people-
character actor.
But it's all goes back to that one thing that was said. It was like a game of telephone.
Yep.
Well, it's like why hidden roles are your weakness.
So we get there. She calls for the thing. Jake accused me. I'm like, the fuck? I said, no, it's Chris. He did it. Rachel's covering for him. He goes, no, this is bullshit. And I said, so in game, I ate my gun and blew my head off so I could eat. Sat on the other side of the fucking room and watched Jake be wrong.
But
The
you
mi-
still lost because you killed yourself.
That's fine. I was right, technically.
I mean, you were right, but
The minute Angie goes, no, Scoop was right. I was like, I yelled across the room, I told you, motherfucker. And he's like, why are you so aggressive?
But at
Because
the-
you're an idiot.
But on the flip side, I see where Jake.
Oh, no, I completely understand. I fucked myself there.
Yeah, like
No, it
Hard.
wasn't that you fucked yourself. It's that Drew said that, and then it made sense. And it did. If I had been a cop and I had seen and heard that same thing, because
Right.
even knowing the truth and standing there, I'm like, wow, Scoob really does look suspicious. Like, this is so suspicious.
The thing Drew
He was
heard,
even slinking around the yard in the storm.
the thing
Right.
the thing Drew said, the thing Drew heard was a snippet of me going, look, we need to talk about facts. We have a lot of bodies here. We, the communal we.
Rachel just set Scoob up perfectly. She set
did.
him
we
up.
need to
She
talk
did.
about.
She said little things to Jake that made him like suspicious of Scoob. And she saw Drew listening. She knew he was down listening, so she deliberately said stuff to implicate because she knew she was busted.
Right.
Everybody knew Rachel was helping the killer.
we knew.
So she just-
Stone cold fucking busted.
I just want to.
I was so happy because
Rachel
I had done
has
so well.
an affinity. I think Rachel is the
Oh,
opposite
Rachel's-
of Scoob when it comes to hidden role games because Rachel is so cutthroat. Like when we played Secret Hitler. So Secret Hitler
Oh,
is
that was that was better than the fucking murder mystery.
Secret no.
offense.
The murder mystery was better. The thing with Rachel though is I'm pretty sure she set up her divorce was what happened.
She did.
So basically what happened is we were playing Secret Hitler, and Secret Hitler is similar to the Resistance in the fact that you have policies you're trying to vote on. So you're either a fascist or you're a liberal. So the liberals are trying to keep Hitler from becoming Hitler, and the fascists are trying to ensure that Hitler becomes chancellor.
He becomes Hitler.
The only thing is that Hitler does not know who the fascists are working for him, and the fascists know who Hitler is. So it's basically a game of trying to get Hitler into power without Hitler knowing who's working for
Which, in
him.
my mind, now that I think about it, would be a wonderful sitcom.
Oh Jesus.
No, think about it. It's just a fucking sitcom where every single episode is just Hitler just go do walking along, bumbling, just being Hitler. Not the Jewy kill Hitler, but that's like pre-Jewy kill Hitler. And then like all this government Valkyrie stuff is going on, and he's like, tacos. Like that's
But anyway, so you're trying to get the policy voted for in Secret Hitler. And the similarity to Resistance is you vote on who's going to be chancellor and who's going to be president. At the very end of the game, if you get to the end and Hitler is voted in as chancellor, the fascists automatically win the game. If they get to the end and there are more policies for liberals, which is kind of difficult for, the liberals end up winning. the first game went pretty well. The only thing was we had to keep resetting it up 4 times because Aiden could not read his cards correctly.
Right.
At least 3 times.
He wasn't wearing his sunglasses. Don't blame him.
So by the end of it, we finally get the game, and everything kind of goes together, and Hitler ends up winning.
No, I thought the Liberal won the first game.
Did the Liberals win?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
They did. Kayla, I think, was Hitler. Liberals won.
No,
Jake was
No,
Hitler.
Jake was Hitler the first. We won the first. We won the first game because it was me, Aiden, and Jake. I know it was me and Jake and somebody.
I know
remember the
when the-
Liberals won the game that Kayla was one of the bad guys. Because
That-
she
I
did
think
something
that-
that was
that
pretty
was like
obvious.
second or
That might have been the second game because I think we played 3, if I'm not mistaken.
Because
Yeah.
I was working, so I was listening.
Right.
Yeah. The first game was me, Jake, and I think either Aiden or Dan, and we won the first game. We got Secret Hitler into power. We got Hitler into power, and
As
won,
Chancellor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we won the first game.
So then we get to this game where it's Rachel and Chris once again. Rachel is Hitler, and Chris is a fascist, and there's one other fascist. I can't remember who it was.
I think it was
me. I was a fascist in one of them.
Yeah, I think it might have been Scoob.
Might have been Scoob. So Rachel, I've never seen. First off, she played like she was drunk the entire
No,
time.
drunk, irritated, and tired. And
Irritated and tired, bitching at Chris. And then, okay, so we're sitting there, and when you get to a certain point in the game, I want to say the Chancellor can...
The Chancellor for the at the end of that round, whoever was Chancellor can kill someone.
Could kill somebody off. So, theoretically, you want to try and kill off somebody who's working against you. Rachel did not play that way. She had convinced everybody that Chris was obviously a fascist, and because you can like look at people's cards and shit like that, and convinces everybody that Chris is a fascist. And then when it comes to vote to kill somebody off, remember Chris is working for her. She kills Chris off.
She kills Chris,
Which is a very fascist maneuver, if you really...
completely throws everybody off the scent that she's Hitler.
No, and it was only Chris and her because we played a small game, so Hitler knew who the fascist was.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's why it made a difference.
Yeah, and she killed off her only
ally.
ally.
So at that point, everybody basically trusted Rachel. It's because obviously Rachel was going to kill off the person who is the fascist because liberals started being able to go through with their policies. Well, it gets to the end of the game and Aiden nominates. Right now, remember, one of the win conditions is that Chancellor gets nominated. If Hitler gets nominated as Chancellor during the end of the game, Hitler automatically wins. Aiden trusting Rachel over, I think it was Becca?
Yeah, it was.
It had to be Becca.
Yeah, it was over
trusting Becca over, or trusting Rachel over Becca. Totally believed that she was a liberal. Helped Rachel win. Rachel basically sacrificed all of her people just so she could win. I mean,
and in 30 seconds,
I did it in Werewolf. Pretended to be the seer and voted out a werewolf.
yeah.
Just that way you're legitimate.
Yep.
And then you can honestly say, no, that person's a villager, and you gain their trust that way.
And
That's how we won at DragonCon that year.
Yep.
I think that's and that's an optimal way to play it. Sometimes you have to throw your teammate out just so you know you can keep surviving.
I still want to kick myself over that one game that we played. There were like 4 or 5 werewolves, and we had the majority vote, and we still let one of our werewolves die.
I was not part of this one. This was
No.
a fuck up all without me.
This was DragonCon before you went. This was mine and Jake's first DragonCon.
Was this also the one where somebody said a word and you got voted out?
No, I didn't get voted. I was still in that game.
Was it Jake that got voted out immediately?
Hey, it was. We had to go for votes and to save people, and I swore up and down somebody else was going to point to Jake. I didn't want to point at another werewolf.
Yeah.
And I pointed to somebody else, and nobody pointed to Jake, and Jake was.
That was the very first vote.
Yep.
He's out almost always first time.
It's crazy.
Even when we play Mafia, he's out.
He uses one really, really bad word. Logic.
That's what I was about to say. Wasn't there like a word that auto got you voted out, which was stupid as fuck?
Well, logically, he's a werewolf.
I mean,
get out of here.
Using logic in a game of deception? What?
So what it is Jake uses logic. I use Scoobic.
Scoob,
you just don't use your brain.
That's what I said.
And reading capability. Reading comprehension is a very important thing, kids.
Look, all you have to do is it green or red? Oh, it's green? I'm a good guy. Is it red? I'm a bad guy.
That's it. Second build. Scoob as a chaos mage.
It's not not so much chaos. I think sometimes
Wild
you just
magic.
don't. I just don't think you think about it. You know what I mean? Like you don't think, okay, I'm clearly a villager because my card says it. I shouldn't be listening to somebody else trying to. If somebody's trying to convince me I'm a role that I'm not, they're probably a bad guy.
I'm also very easy to manipulate. You know this. You've done this.
He is very.
That's a good
He is
point.
very malleable.
Yeah, I mean,
Both physically and mentally.
and the thing is, Scoob, you're a smart guy. Like, I think if you thought about it for more than 2 minutes, you probably would be fine with it. But
But guess
I
what? That never
think the
really
thing
happened.
is, he thinks about it too long.
that's
Sometimes.
true. I mean,
No,
it's
a lot of my
possibility.
problem is I overthink and just
Well,
the fuckery occurs.
that's why, like, our reenactment wasn't necessarily the werewolf reenactment. That was actually the reenactment from New Year's Eve when I almost had to kill Scoob because I'm clearly the seer Scoob. I have literally called 2 werewolves. Why are you voting with Moreland and Jake, who are clearly the werewolves?
Because to me, they weren't clearly the werewolves.
It was so
Becky,
funny.
you're trying to fit my brain and your brain in the same box. Guess what doesn't work? There is no way
when,
you
when
could...
you have a 5-gallon box.
No,
you
what I mean by that
you
is
need a 5-gallon
there's
brain
no way
to put in it.
There's no way
His is only a 1 gallon.
thought process and thinking will ever trek along my thought
It's
process.
not thought process. It's basic understanding of roles and deducement. If there is one person...
Well, I'm a deduce head then. I don't know
you
what you
have
want from
2
me.
people. Me, you, Jake, and Moreland.
That's 4
Neither
people.
of which... Yeah, 2 people. I'm talking about Moreland and Jake. 2 people who never say they're the seer. And never argue with me that I'm the seer. I say, I'm the seer. I've checked these people. They never argue against it. They never say, no, I'm the seer. She's lying. They just say, hey, Scoob, you should vote for Becky.
Which is a tactic.
Of what? What, Scoob? What tactic is it? Tactic of what?
Because how often will you go, I'm the seer, to save your own ass?
Not when I'm the only one saying it, Scoob.
Oddly enough, not that often.
No, I don't. I never call a roll because it's risky.
I was about to say if you call the seer roll in any werewolf game, you are gonna get
And on top
screwed.
of it, the problem we play it with rolls reveal when you die. Nobody had revealed dead as a seer, and Moreland and Jake never contradicted me as seer. I even called out 2 people who were voted out, or at least one person who was the werewolf, if I'm not mistaken. It's just like, I think sometimes Scoob just likes to troll me because he randomly gets me killed in games we're playing together. I'm just saying, like...
We didn't have to call out and counteract your role as seer.
Scoob was going to do it for you.
Exactly.
Dicks out.
I love you, Scoob, but you are terrible at these games.
That's why I never play them.
And that's
every
why,
time.
But you know what? You have...
No, every time anyone has ever suggested werewolf, secret Hitler, coup, resistance, insert game name here for this topic, I usually go, nope, not doing it, because I'm terrible at these games.
I think Secret Hitler and the Resistance have another element that you can say, okay, it's not your fault if you don't make that decision because you don't know.
Secret Hitler, I was okay in.
Right, because it adds a separate element of having to not only figure out who's the bad guy, but you also have to vote to ensure that the bad guys are not going to win and or the good guys. And you have to sort of deduce their actions based on what's happening. I think just having that extra element helps you. I think just the basis of, here's my role, I have to figure out everybody else's role is a little, it's a little too much for you. I don't know why the more complicated one makes more sense for you, but whatever.
I've wondered several things about my brain and the synapses that fire within it over 33 years.
I've stopped trying to wonder about your brain.
Do it. It's safer that way.
And I mean,
it really is.
It's one of Angie's favorite things to do at Dragon Con every
I
year.
was about to say,
Is go
pick my
play
brain.
Werewolf. No, go to play
I
Werewolf.
haven't like the last 2 years.
Yeah, the
with you
last 2
guys.
years have been really like.
No, you don't want to play, so I don't go play.
Well, no. Like even last year when we went to play, you didn't like the people you were playing with.
We didn't even attend to go play last year.
Wasn't there? Oh, the year before.
It was the year.
Yeah.
It was the year before. It is the year I went. Going and playing Werewolf. If you don't find a good group, and like they were letting people get up and walk around and talk to each other and conspire and this, that, and the other, and I'm like, you don't get to get up and walk around and talk to each other. I understand it's a 22-person game and there's a crap ton of people.
Or split the game down at that point,
Right.
and play smaller groups.
Yeah, split the game down, play in a smaller group. you don't get up to get around and talk to each other. You if you want to say something secretly, you whisper it to the person next to you.
Or the guy next to me who called me a werewolf, and I clearly wasn't the werewolf. And then they voted for me because the guy said I was a werewolf. It's like, you have
and he was just a troll, and they're like, why would you say her? And he's like, I don't know, because she was beside me.
Yeah.
I can't stand shit like that. And then people are like,
At least I try to not be that guy. Mine is genuine stupidity.
I think the funniest part about that game, though, was Jake hitting on the lesbian.
yeah. And then she bro bumped him.
Oh, wait, what's this?
Right.
What's this? What's this?
This was-
chest bumped him.
Yeah.
So we're sitting
Yeah.
next to a girl that's kind of cute.
Uh-huh.
She's dressed up
Clearly a lesbian. Clearly.
Well, she's dressed up.
Hold on.
She's
Your radar's on a different attunement, Angela.
Well, I told him.
Well, then he's an
eventually.
idiot. Okay.
Y'all had moved so I could sit next to her because y'all wanted me to sit next to her.
Yeah.
She was
Wait,
dressed.
but so would it be less funny or more funny if it was Moreland? Not funny like it was done meanly, but funny as in like, oh, that sucks. That same.
Anyways,
Well, we tried to tell him, and he still continued to hit
Oh,
on
okay,
her,
yeah.
knowing because we had told him she's pinging pretty hard on the.
I
bar.
think
So
I think
we're-
if memory serves, that was when Jake was in and I love Jake. I think that was in that point when he was like, I can fix this. No, you can't.
So we're sitting there. We're talking with her. She doesn't really know. She hadn't really played before. So we're trying to, we're explaining to her and everything. What's going on, and comes down to we're talking or she's talking to Jake more than she's talking to me. So I'm like, well, she's not interested in me anyway. She's more interested in Jake. Yada yada yada.
But it turns out they were just werewolves together.
Yeah, and
They were lovers in lycanthropy.
pretty much. But there came to one point to where Jake goes to her, have you ever kissed a guy with a blue nose? She goes, no. And he goes, would you like to? And she's like, da 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 da, kind of
Playing coy and hard to get.
yeah.
Or
No.
And
Probably like, is he serious?
pretty much something like that. And she gets up and
Well,
it
She
ended
leaves
the game.
She
Well-
goes to a different game to get away from us.
Well, no,
Well, so him more
the
than
game had
you.
ended, and she was getting up and leaving, and she bro fist bumps him.
No,
And-
this is a different game.
Oh, is it?
And
It's a different game. So that game ends because we were in this corner. So we all go into the big game where you, Jake, and I are werewolves together, and Becky's sitting behind us. She goes to another game in another place to get away from him.
yeah,
So there's this girl that she had been talking to in the other game, and as she's walking by, it's down to like the last couple of minutes in our game. But she goes up to the girl and she's like, hey, here's my number and my room number if you want to stop by later. And the girl's like all Twitter baited. And then Jake's sitting there like, huh. Because he's getting up thinking she's coming over for him. And so she's leaving. She's like, boom, bro hugs him. It's like, see you later. It's good to meet you.
bro hug, bro fist bump. And just,
This is legitimately like her voice. Hey.
Why?
So-
it was
This
great.
is my number.
By the
my
way,
room number.
we saw her walking
She's
through
pretty
the.
cool.
No, she was pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
We saw her walking through the hall the next day. She gives him another bro fist bump.
She did.
I'm dying laughing.
He got brozoned.
I-
He didn't
No,
get
no, no.
friend zoned.
I would
he
like to
got
point out the
brozoned.
only reason I had you guys tell the story is I've heard bits and pieces, but I've never heard the whole thing.
It's
I needed full
lovely.
context.
It was
But
lovely.
what made
No.
it so priceless to me was when she walked up and handed her room number and phone number to this other girl.
Yep.
Who was sitting right next to Jake.
Which, by the way, didn't ping on the door. And when the girl went away, she was like, I'm not a lesbian, but I might. Like, just stop by.
There's not a setting for that on there? There's no maybe setting on the door?
No, I think she was just curious. I don't think she was
She
bi
thought she
curious.
was.
I think she
thought
just...
the one dressed as Fiona that Jake was hitting on thought she was cute. She was maybe.
You know what happens at Dragon Con stays at Dragon Con.
Basically.
No, it doesn't. We have a podcast.
That's true too.
We're going to tell all your
Me,
stories.
me,
I
me,
mean-
wingmanning for Jake, and oh god,
I'm sorry.
I feel like we never have these stories. Well, I think it's because we only go one day. MomoCon's next week, by the way.
I don't want to go. I gotta work.
no, you got to work. You want to go, but you can't.
No, I don't want to go. MomoCon's awkward.
What's the-
MomoCon
I
is a
want to
whole.
go check out the gaming thing.
I
though.
need to check out
That's
the
only thing I wanna
cosplay
do,
stuff.
Yeah.
but
Yeah, because you're still trying to build.
I'm trying to get a jacket.
Hi, Woo.
for
What's happening?
Jorah.
Joyra.
Really?
Yeah, but I would also like to point out that like
Yeah,
when I
okay.
wingman for him, it was just like, oh, You have no idea what the fuck you're doing, do you?
Nope, he doesn't.
Oh, look,
Neither.
honey, it's retarded. Ah! No, there was this...
We just wanted to remind you that there's games where the monsters come up because they're hidden. And they're a surprise.
Yeah, like that girl who wasn't wearing underwear. That
Like-
was a surprise.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that happens. Never when I'm around, but that happens.
Well, that's
Yeah.
because you were actually enjoying Dragon Con. Jake, I think, was trying to get someone to touch his wee-wee that wasn't him. Weird role reversal when you really put it in perspective.
I was super enjoying Dragon Con.
Yeah.
We played D&D and everything. I was
we were
happy.
relaxing from Becky's hot day in her costume, and
I've made terrible decisions, and I'm
Doing
not doing it
podcast
next
stuff.
year.
that was a lot of fun hanging out with those people. Like
Yeah.
all those people we met.
I didn't have to talk to anybody, so that was my number one happiness. The mask was great for not having to be socially interact with people. It was bad for like dehydration, possible heat stroke, things that might kill me.
Right.
But otherwise,
No, you want to talk about fucking possible heat stroke and shit. Going to Renfest. So I was on a mission to buy bracers for my costume. Even though I'm probably not going to go to Decon this year just because the baby. Who'll be dressed as a tadpole.
Anyways,
Anyway,
So cute. Though.
it'll be like 2 weeks after she has the baby. I'm pretty sure she won't want to walk around Atlanta.
yeah.
And I won't have money.
No.
But no, so I went to Renfest to go buy leather bracers. I took Moreland with me because he is my heterosexual life mate, and I knew the girls were going to take a minute because Angie wanted a bird to sit on her head. Fair.
Like she did last year.
Oh, I wanted to get it on the GoPro.
That too.
which we need that. I need that
I was
footage.
petting a goose.
I will put that out as a video.
And so we get there, and I guess we walked far enough, and they got to the jerky vendor, whose whole bit was he was a jerk. That was the joke.
It was great.
So apparently Becky and Angie asked him or paid him or tipped him or whatever to say,
No, we just
"Scoob!"
asked him.
Oh, okay. Scoob,
Yeah, he
Scoob,
asked
you are
us.
lost. We wish you to be found. He's yelling it at the top of his
Scooby
lungs.
Doo, where are you?
And that was interesting.
That was great.
Because then that,
You're talking about heat stroke and gauntlets.
yeah, because then that turned into just a whole fucking hotness and Renfestiness and
Renfest was great. I think the best part was we walked over to the lemonade water drink vendor that was next to him, and she goes, "Go ask him what he sells.
oh yeah,
Just go ask him what he sells."
Yeah.
So I walked
This
over.
was toward the end when
I,
we were-
I trot over to him and I go, "So, sir, what do you sell?" He
I
just-
sell, and he's top of
he-
his lungs. I sell my meat. There was nothing secret about his role.
Oh no, as Becky and I were walking away, he was like, "Ladies, you can split my meat between you. You can share it."
He also argued with a lawyer about being a Becky. Jesus Christ! Time is it? It's time to go home yet?
No,
he was arguing with Lawyer about blowjobs.
I think he something.
That became some Becky.
I don't think
No,
that's.
Scoob said he was arguing with Lawyer about Becky.
Oh, I got you. I was like, wait a minute.
He meant he was
Arguing
arguing
with Becky about
being a lawyer
because she's a woman and da 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 da. Because that's the whole shtick. And at the end he goes, "But congratulations on double digit an hour though."
Yep.
I was like, my clients can just go to jail. I still make $1,000. I don't care.
So we know
Not
what-
true. Not true, guys. That's not true. If
not how that
anybody
works.
I work with, I don't
I
actually
would like
do
to
that.
point
That's
out
not
the,
my actual
the
job.
snap ass coverage, which will get cut out. It
No.
means that she's not lying.
No, because everybody knows that's not what I actually do for my job. So, but
I don't know what you
Do
do for
we?
your job.
I don't know what you do for your job.
Doo-doo.
I don't even know what
How do
my
we know you're
dad
not a
does.
stripper with a lawyer gimmick? Like Ally
Ooh.
McFeel.
Yeah, right?
How we make feel.
I like that.
I'm not skinny enough.
Weirdly enough,
and
I
I
like
don't
that.
make enough money for that.
I told you
and
about-
I have a
Becky.
crippling amount of
Did I
student
not
debt.
tell you about my idea?
Becky, we've been to the Claremont.
Boo.
Okay?
Okay, what about that?
Becky, are you stripping?
Damn,
Whoa,
just
whoa,
a
whoa,
fucking.
whoa. What the
Hold on, I'll put my dick out for a water 20s. Hold on.
I'll take my shirt off. Hold on.
Why are you doing that?
Because you were gonna strip.
I wasn't gonna strip.
No, but you said you wouldn't make enough money. I'm like, yes, you would.
Put your cable money back in your pocket.
I already paid my cable bill.
Haha.
That's her walking around money.
Yeah.
This is my.
This
I'm
is
gonna.
gonna be your get your computer out of the shop money, but you know what? You can get it.
Okay, that's fine.
Ooh, What? Trouble in paradise.
I'll get naked for money. Give me money.
I'll give you money to not get naked.
Never have I thought about gouging my eyes out, but today that is this day.
And that was a reenactment of what happens to me every time we play a secret ball game. I get confused and bad shit happens.
He's not wrong.
And just pay somebody to make it stop.
To be fair, Scoob, that's you when you play just about any game.
Name the last time in a non-secret role game.
That you got confused and bad shit happened?
Yeah.
You gave away red dragon eggs.
No, I knew what I was doing.
No, you weren't. No, you didn't.
Whenever you play,
No, I weren't.
whenever
No, you
you
weren't.
play a magic game.
No, I know what I'm doing. I just don't do it well.
No.
Besiege you.
Yeah, Besiege you was a mistake.
Yeah, no.
I
That wasn't
don't-
because you were confused either.
I would have been at one life and Becky would have been dead.
I was playing.
No, you both were playing.
It was me.
I would have been at one life and Angie would have been dead.
No, Angie still would have beaten you. I would have been dead. Angie still would have beaten you.
Becky would have been
It
dead.
was just a
about to-
one-on-one. It was the black and white wizard. I mean, the blue and white wizards versus whatever he was playing.
They've missed it, I think, it's time.
Well, guess what? It did not shelter all.
Yeah, at least I remember what the fuck it did. I just didn't remember to use it. Chase's second ability.
Whatever.
Brainstorm.
We all have
got
our
brain-
own issues.
It's got brain in the title. Only yours ended with yours ended. Yours ended.
Wow,
with
that
fart.
was amazing.
Your brainstorm or green needle. By the way, Magic has a secret identity game, an assassin.
Yeah, Assassin's fun.
That fucking game.
Yep, Assassin's
You have
Creed.
to get a really good group to play it, though. Some people who know,
Who don't reveal too soon.
yeah, who don't. Especially if you get that weird moment where there's like two rogues. So what it is you each put your name in a hat kind of thing, and you draw a name. If you draw yourself, and you can only attack the person who you have drawn. If you draw yourself, you're rogue, you can attack anybody. But then as soon as you do, you have to reveal you are the rogue, you can attack whoever. As soon as you attack your intended target, you have to reveal that kind of thing.
Okay.
So you have to be, or if you're a rogue, you can attack anybody.
That's what I said.
Oh, but like what I'm saying is like, so you have to take into account whether you want to wait until somebody else is about to take somebody out and then reveal and then attack them, or how you want to do it.
Yeah,
it's
like,
a very
like if it was the four of us and I had Becky, I would attack Becky. If Moreland had himself or had me, he could only attack me.
But if I had myself, I could attack you, Becky, or Angie.
Yeah, but then you have to reveal who you had, and then when you kill whichever one of us, you take our target.
Yep.
Which, in theory, depending on how late in the game is, we would have already done chipped the life total of.
yeah.
Exactly.
So I just overall, hidden role games are some of my favorite. They're the most frustrating games to me sometimes, because if you do get a bad group of people, it could be really not fun.
Oh yeah. Like,
Well, the
But-
difference between a bad group of people who just kind of are not knowing what they're doing and people who are in intentional trolls is something too.
Now, I have seen people, or I've seen streams where there has been, like in Mafia, where you don't reveal who they are, that there's actually no Mafia in that entire game, and that the storyteller is the one killing off the players.
Ooh.
So imagine the chaos in that.
That's chaotic.
Because you never truly understand why the Mafia never die, or why the game never ends, and you're not understanding why certain people are getting killed.
So it's literally a psychopath running the asylum at that point.
Exactly.
Hi!
Shut
So
up,
it's like
Scoob.
a social experiment to see how you handle knowing that you have no idea, you have no information, and everybody's a good guy.
That's crazy.
I want to try it, but you have to have the right group of people for it to succeed.
And we are not
Yeah.
the right group
This
of people.
is not the right group of people to do. So I will continue on my quest to find people who would do it.
No, you won't. We're your only friends.
Bish, I have cats. They can learn how to play Mafia.
I would love just a stream of you and a fucking tabby cat playing fucking spades or something.
Or Boo.
Yes.
Boo wins. I mean,
Boo
I mean,
she's too
Baboo would just
smart.
slap her right in the face like,
Yeah.
bitch.
Bitch.
No, she put her foot in her crotch.
Yeah, she
That
could be
hurt.
a clitorectomy in a minute.
Becky almost got a clitoral piercing because fucking Baboo missed a jump.
She didn't miss a jump. She landed where she intended.
Fair.
I think so too.
Yeah, she purely landed where she
She
wanted
fucking,
to.
she Goomba stomped your Goomba.
She was like, that looks like a really comfy place.
That looks soft. I'm gonna go right
That looks
there.
very sensitive and probably will make you scream. Let me gouge
you know why
it.
she did that? Because you fucked up the superstitious intro that we do before we record.
Yeah.
Yep.
Any
ano-
last
another
thoughts?
thing.
on
Another
hidden
one
roll
of
games.
Oh no, there's more thoughts than just the last. The last thought's gonna get run a train on like nobody's business.
Right?
Okay.
Hey,
Wait.
Becky.
You know what we should do from now on? We should come up with a new way to do Hey Becky. We should actually have guest stars just clipped in. Hey Becky.
That's a good idea.
That's what we need to do when we go to
Let's do
when
it.
when you go to MomoCon or
We
Dragon
just want to
Con.
get
Just
hey,
everybody go,
Becky.
hey.
Just
but-
hey Becky.
Yes.
I like it. We're doing it.
Yes. I love it.
Wait, ready?
Wait, Becky. How would you feel if she got Matt Mercer to go, "Hey, Becky"?
I would be like, where was I? And how did you get this? Because I could picture Angie being like sneaking into the house and being like, I need you to say this.
Oh, I thought you meant her house, not just break into Mercer's home.
Just say it. Have a shiv, like a really bad looking shiv, and like
Why?
say it.
Why are you taking it so? Why
Like
are
a
you
parent
taking it
shiv.
so criminal?
Just-
Why did she escalate it so criminally?
All
Oh,
she's
why
gotta
I'd
do is-
break in a house. First of all, I'd have to be in the dark.
Second of
there's
all,
spots and-
Why
second
do
of
you
all,
have to break in a house at dark? You can
because if you do it during the daylight, it's an even more obvious crime. You dumbass.
Go
What
to
the?
jail.
Wait a minute. New outro. Why do you have to break into a house in the dark?
I'm done.
Becky, you deal in the
Anybody
criminal.
needs-
I was gonna say
Okay.
criminal injury. That's not the word.
Okay, let's just. I broke Becky with that thought. Hey.
No.
Becky. No,
No.
come on. Can we do it, please? Can we just?
Why would you break into a house in the middle of the night?
You can break into a house at any time. You're still gonna get the same charge, motherfucker. That's my point.
I had to hear a law professional say it, and I did.
Daylight is still, you still get a breaking and entering
We
charge.
understand that, but the percentage of people who could see you goes up by like 100%.
Your stealth is
Right,
very bad.
It easily doubles.
Well, you have, okay, never mind. We'll argue about this later.
Hey.
Becky.
Hey, Becky.
Becky.
Where can they find
On
us?
Spotify.
Instaham. This
You can find us on Spotify.
only
Where else,
Spotify.
Becky?
Only Spotify.
Where else, Becky?
On Weeby Geeks.
Where else, Becky?
Which the one I get you? Instagram.
Where else, Becky? What are
That's
names?
it. That's the only ones I
What
can
about
get.
Twitch?
What's our names on there, Becky?
You can find us on
No, she
Facebook.
can't find us on Twitch. Becky has a Twitch. Like,
You can find us on Facebook at the Free Rotation Podcast. You can also find us on Twitter at the Free Rotation. You can also find us on Instagram at the Free Rotation Podcast, and we put up videos on YouTube and stream on Twitch at the Free Rotation. Please help us reach affiliate. We might be at affiliate when this episode reaches. I don't know. We are also on Weeby Geeks. It's an affiliate network that we are on. We are also on our own website, thefreerotation.com, and you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, anywhere there's a podcast app. Please rate, like, leave us a review. Just let us know that you're listening.
Becky, I would like to point out that is the first time I've ever seen you physically in pain doing that.
I'm tired.
You look like you were holding a poop.
I was like, I need to make sure I remember this. My brain was suddenly slipping away.
Suddenly slipping
Why
away?
have you never written it down?
Because I believe in
A thing called love. Just listen to the rhythm of your heart.
goodbye.
And remember, sometimes the PSA is going to break Becky just as badly.
Boo.
Boo.
Brain just shut down from this conversation.
Good.
Like my brain, it did that Windows update, and then it kept shutting on and off.
Yeah, that's why it said something about a biscuit. It said Irish wristwatch, which it has for the last whatever many episodes we're on.
Yeah.
I like that you're recording
Since
all
the
of this.
beginning.
Yeah, because it's the outro.
Are
Exactly.
you sure? I mean, that's doing exactly what it did last time. Are you sure you didn't record it?
I'm
normally?
positive, Becky. I'm really positive. I went to sit back down in my chair and was like, is that the USB cord?
It wasn't plugged in.
Unless that's what I tripped on earlier.
It had to be because this was going.
It always goes, whether it's in or not.
Right,
Just
because
me.
all of this is going to that
There
anyways.
it goes. Does this mean this is the Calling Becky outro? Is that what we're doing?
Yes, it is now.
This is a good one. You jinxed us by doing your bullshit during the thing, the warm-ups.
Yeah. It's tradition
Yes.
now. It's tradition.
I take
Tradition.
blame for not once again asking Angie if it's on the USB audio.
I'm glad you
I'll
admit
take
that you did
responsibility
this.
for that because I always say, "Is it on the USB audio?" And Angie
Guys,
normally
guys.
responds with like,
And
a
you
glare.
know
Guys.
why you didn't do it this time? Because you didn't say Irish
You were
wristwatch. You
so
said bullshit
focused
about a biscuit.
On fuckery. If
Guys.
you hadn't been focused on fuckery.
We out-lawyered the lawyer.
We did.
It took 3 of us, mind you. It took 3 of
You
us.
know what? I'm really,
But we did it.
guys.
We did it.
I hope you all have time to go to Fulton County with me tomorrow.
Yeah, sure.
We're all going, right?
I'll take work
Let's
off.
go.
I gotta work.
Okay.
Where are we going? Are you going to
We're
go
going
kill
up to
us?
Fulton County.
Are you taking us up there to kill us?
I'm only going to get probation, so I'm not worried about it.
She's not gonna take us up there to kill us. She's got homicidal kids up there. She's gonna feed us to them.
No, don't feed me to the kid.